Look, Larry. There we are, like Beetlejuice. It's showtime. How the heck are you, Isabel?
Hi, hon.
Man, I I tell you what, I'm tired. I've been sick all 2 weeks. It's been crazy. But then, man, I remember who the guest was. I got excited. Oh man, it's like royalty out here. Unbelievable.
That's
Um,
right. And
man, I am
you get
so excited.
you get me as a co-host. I mean, how wonderful is your day going?
It's great. Best co-host ever. Thank you for taking the show over last week and giving me a time to
Yeah.
recuperate.
You
My
needed
goodness.
you needed a night off, dude.
I was gonna try it again, but I figured you would, kill me, and I couldn't say no to, the great
Um,
Scott Heathman, dude.
yeah, well, that's the thing. So I would have gladly taken it over, but you would have missed out. Not that last week's guest wasn't good, but you would have missed out on Scott. Seriously?
No.
That's yeah.
Well, I had tried to book Oprah, um, and, then she's like, "Hey, I'm a little too busy this century, so, how about my man Scott Heathman?" I was like, "Hey, yes, absolutely." I actually wanted Scott, that's why I asked Oprah. Y'all don't know. See, I teach sales and consumer psychology.
Yeah.
You ask for the big ask, and so next time you wanna borrow $10, go ask somebody for $1,000, and when they say no, say, "Well, hey, I just have 10?" It doesn't sound as bad as 1,000. You see? There you go. My kids do that to me all the time.
Speaking of your kids, you celebrated somewhat of a milestone yesterday with Stephanie.
Yeah, 19 years, and I was gonna take a picture of the sweet stuff I got her, but she's not here, and, then the cat peed in the floor, and you know how life is. So, yeah, it's just a shame. But there, I did
Oh,
obviously, this is not Sindal's graphics. This is me the last minute. But I
oh.
wanted to show you all, like, look at that little stank face she gave you back there. Do you see that? I
That's
need to
your
blow it
Martha
up.
Stewart, isn't it? That's your
Oh,
little Martha
dude.
Stewart.
Oh no, she's Bob Vila and Martha Stewart. Seriously, like, no, I'm not kidding. We walked down the street last summer, so she was 4. Last summer, the guy was drilling stuff. I don't know why. He just said, "Hey, you want to do it?" She's like, "Sure," and she picks it up. Boom, boom, boom. It puts holes in it perfectly and sets it down like, yeah. And so I know she fixed the bed frame. She fixed
Aw.
the toilet seat when she was 3. That took like 6 hours, and I had to hold the door frame up for her to fix the door hinges. And just like her, just like my dad, uh, "Hey, let me do I got it, I got it." I'm like, "Alright, I'll stand here for 10 hours and watch you put this door together." So, I can't
So
wait.
who broke the bed frame, dude?
Well, she put this pull-up bar I got for my birthday. It's a pull-up bar and a dip bar, and it sat there for 2 weeks. It took me 3 days to put it together. It shoulda took like 3 minutes. So I was like, "You know what?" I said, "You wanna do this?" I got them all started for her. She just finished them up. She's so happy.
That's so cute. Hey, I have something to
Yep.
show you today. Maybe Sindel
Oh,
can
you do?
Yeah, maybe Sindel can put my picture on, if she's there and if she's yeah, oh, that's you. Hang on. I'm trying, it's not working. Okay,
I see it.
I wanted you to see this because see, ladies and gentlemen in the audience, Michael likes to bug me because he pretends that I live in an igloo. And he likes to bug me that, the reason I don't have electricity sometimes is because the bicycle just, hit the wires and that's why it went kaboom. So I absolutely wanted to show you that this is the feel like weather in Fahrenheit because you guys don't speak Celsius. So this is the weather where I live today, Michael. So I just wanted you to have proof that this is see it says my location. This is where I live. This is where my iPhone was. So this the feels like 98 degrees Fahrenheit. I absolutely wanted to show you this so you see that I don't live in an igloo.
Well, that proves nothing. First of all, I got 1 or 2 words. Maybe Scott can fix this. Photoshop, because I got my picture taken in the '80s with John Wayne. So that, I mean, you're not fooling anybody, okay? So, all right, how about we roll the intro before I get mad? Just because you bought a pool in the Arctic doesn't mean that I need to hear about it all day long, right? So
I
let's roll
was
the
in
intro.
the pool today. Anyway, yeah, you're right. Let's roll the intro, Sindel. Make that guy.
Are you looking to grow your network and your net worth with other high level, heart centered professionals? Then grab a seat and your favorite beverage and join Mike Asherbranner, the Redneck Connector. It's time for the Hounds of Business Community Happy Hour.
Okie dokie. Are we gonna let that go, or are we just gonna ruin the show with that?
No, we're not gonna ruin the show because this guy is too amazing. He can't
Yeah.
ruin the show. Like you and I can do a bad job, but him, impossible.
It is. And so I got my sock puppet here, and I didn't get to make it last week. Thank you very much. Um, but I made it this week. I had to re-show it. My buddy Claire, right? Hounds OG, Claire Davis, amazing, brilliant person. Helps so many people in healthcare, personal friends of mine that she has helped. Fantastic individual. So anybody in medical sales that's looking to scale up, get a career, change career, whatever, talk to her. She's got tons of free, like brilliant free information. So go to her LinkedIn profile, Claire M. Davis, and go give her a shout out. DM her, say, hey, Mike sent me. I get the credit or the blame. All right. So, and by the way, I had to do this because, I'm pretty shameless. That's it.
You?
So there we go. Claire, thank you very much. I don't know why she sent me socks because she knows dadgum good and well I don't wear shoes. So it's kind of, I'm happy, but I'm kind of sad. Um, but I'll say thank you. Okay. So I got these socks, and then I started the healthcare merch wars because I did spill the beans about Ansel sending me a shirt. She didn't get a shirt, so I got socks. Ansel didn't get socks, and now I think I'm going to melt LinkedIn down with this. So, but then they started acting nice, and I'm like, no, this is supposed to be an angry war. It's not. It's not a nice war. Really. So now I got to get some redneck merch. Maybe some redneck connector speedos. I don't know, but we'll figure it out.
If
All
you
right.
if you get redneck connector speedos, please, for the love of God, don't take pictures.
No, I'll take video, of course. You're right. So, look, look, I wish I could see faces. Hey, everybody DM me the face you're making when I'm talking because I like to know if I should shut up. All right. So, speaking of Dr. Constance Leland, our publicity queen, right in the hub in the Hounds of Business Level Up Academy, amazing. Again, PB and J when they put them in the jar, I'm still talking about it. It's unbelievable the impact. She makes so many things affordable and accessible to everyone. Um, I mean, I was in Business Insider. That's crazy, right? So, anthologies, and I got to send Scot Heathman the anthology. I'll leave the house one day this year. Um, and then somebody, oh, by the way, somebody stole my bracelet. We got to call the local authorities, and or I just have to make another one. And no, you can't make him one. Isabel said, I'll make him one. With what, those shovel hooks? You make one for Shaq. Shaq can wear that. Scott Heathman likes the little ones, like me. See the little dainty ones.
Oh, Michael,
So
you really enjoy bugging me about the same damn thing every week. You should refresh your material, dude.
y- y- I should, but I'm not into recycling. I'm sorry. All right.
Oh,
So,
okay. There you go.
oh, Amber Williams. Oh my goodness, my friend. Yeah. I didn't fold those towels yet, Amber. Sorry. So brand ambassadors, Susanna Dawn, Danielle, Any. All right, he's been all around. I like Any. And Kinga. They are doing this. Guys, scan the QR code. 50 most inspiring connections on LinkedIn. Do this. Birds of a feather flock together. You want to be surrounded by people. They expect us to say we're great. They don't expect all kinds of super pros with big hearts and walks of life to say we're great. And you can't fake that. You can't buy that. I'm telling you. That comes from just being a good, honest person and showing up and pushing people up. Nobody does that better than Dr. CJ. So thank you so much for all you do for me, everyone else. Amazing, man. We are
Amazing.
rising together, pulling each other forward, right? We got some really big players in the hounds. We got people who are growing into that position, and we're pushing each other up. Nobody's better than the other person. It's unbelievable. Scan that, get involved, guys. Don't be a wallflower. All right. Well, when I get to this, no, don't wait till you get somewhere. Do it now. Okay. That just jump on it. Courage before confidence. All right. And that's the theme today. Nobody knows courage before confidence or both of them better than this guy that we got coming up. So I got one more very special. There you go. Change how you're seen, charge what you're worth. Our friends at Brandface. Yeah, I gotta find my old profile and my old branding. I was on the right track in the wrong train. Y'all seen it. All the OGs talk about it, comment about it. Yeah, I had two rednecks in overalls, and in pink it said "Redneck Financial Coach." that was my best attempt. And so, thank you, Brandface. They've done so many things for so many other people. Amazing. You got to check them out. They have a group call. Scan that, find out what they do. They got a top ranked podcast. They got tons of stuff, but they're great, down to earth, good hearted people. We thank them so much for what they've done for us. So many people in the pack, and really around the world. So go check them out. Thank you so much for all you do for us.
They are awesome.
And what do you say? Without further ado, the time we kept him waiting long enough.
I think we should bring him up.
Let's do it. Somebody bring him up, please.
There he is, the Colonel himself.
What's going on?
Hey, Scott.
Haven't
good
got
to
that
see you.
clap machine yet, so
Yeah, I don't hear the
That-
clap. Hey, I'll just
Yeah.
where's
clap,
Jason?
clap.
Well, hey, Scott, I'll be in the market for a new co-host anyway. Don't tell her, but we'll get Jason. He's got the little box that makes noises. How about that? So how are you doing today, my friend? How are you?
I am good. It was a packed, productive day, but I've been looking forward to this all day. It's just this is my playtime, you know. So
Yeah, good. And it's Juneteenth, right? So
it's Juneteenth. Yes.
right, and nobody more appropriate, but freedom. Right, I'm all about freedom. I'm freedom for all people, and so I love it. I love 4th of July. I love what we stand for. And if you don't know, and I don't want to spoil it, I'm going to read his bio. All right. This is the most reading I'll do all month. All right. But I got to read the guy's bio because it's real and it's amazing. And my goodness. So if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and read it because I want everybody to know who you are, not just what you do. It's very inspiring, Scott. So Scot Heathman's life is marked, say, I'm going to do the theatric, marked by a desire to shoot for the skies. Raised in Minnesota with traditional Midwest values, he was an active participant in school, sports, and his community. However, his greatest passion emerged at just 3 years old when he saw Star Wars in the theater for the first time. Yeah, me too. That day, he knew he was destined to fly airplanes. This dream prompted a 25-year career in the Air Force, during which time he became a colonel, combat instructor pilot, squadron commander, and eventually an Air Force base commander, serving roughly 14,000 personnel. In 2019, however, his resilience would be tested beyond anything he had experienced. Following a car accident, doctors discovered he had a brain tumor. The next year was spent in observation and eventually culminated in a near 10-hour surgery. Despite 4 months of extreme therapy to learn how to walk, talk, and see and regain his balance, Scott returned to his position as base commander for Scott Air Force Base, Illinois, only to go through 30 rounds of radiation, all while still under global pandemic. This experience taught him how impactful his own lessons could be in inspiring others and prompted a huge opportunity to elevate others. So in 2022, he retired from the Air Force and set out to bring his own ideas of courage and a proven leadership style to help corporate and senior leaders command their own cultures. Today, Scott inspires CEOs to frontline leaders to command with courage so they can unleash the force within their team, ignite their innovative spirit, and skyrocket their bottom line. His commander level coaching / training programs, also with his keynote presentations, inspire his clients to lead with relatability and respect and embrace their vulnerability and emotional intelligence for positive change. Scott has master's degrees in organizational leadership, organizational planning and strategy, national security, and strategic studies, and is certified in emotional intelligence. And while he's everything, how you say it? This curriculum and
Yep. Yes.
assessments designed to take leadership performance to the highest altitudes. He earned the 2024 Emotional Intelligence Facilitator and Retired Colonel of the Year award from the International Association of Top Professionals. He is a co-authored. He is a co-author of the book Military Effect, to be released in Memorial Day. We'll see if it did. And author of the upcoming book Command with Courage: Elevating Beyond Adversity, due to be released in the fall or winter of 2024. Wow.
Hot damn.
10% truth. 10% truth in there, right?
That's like a Tom Brokaw resume. Like that was just a summary. Could you imagine getting this guy's resume and HR is like over the phone book? Like, who's going to read this?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic, brother. Well, gosh, I don't even know where to start. I had questions, but they seem goofy now. So let's see. I did. I'm like, man. So here's the deal. You went through a lot of stuff, and just the military is impressive, but the things that happened after that, right? So real quick, just want to get your perspective, Scott.
Yeah.
I think the world of you, man. I respect you like no other. You just don't talk the talk and you walk the walk. And what impresses me about you is, when you're paid and even in corporate military, they have to listen to you, right? To a large degree, they have to listen to you. You're the colonel. But what impresses me is that I know people would follow you if they didn't have to, right? They do now. And I've seen a lot of people that have a lot of transition, and issues coming from military or corporate to entrepreneurship or volunteerism or whatever. And you just dance through that crap flawlessly, brother. I mean, you just dance with grace like the cha-cha. So, in your own words, man, how is it? Tell us about your military background and role as the colonel. Like, how did that get started? And what was some of your highlights in that? How did that shape you as the man you are today?
Yeah. It started with the dream to fly airplanes, but when you become an officer in the military, they expect you to lead and they certainly give you the tools and the education and the experiences to do that. They're not going to let you take the brand new car out and crash it. You got a lot of teammates, mentors, but you got to be open to a lot of that too. So, about 10 years into my career is when I started to see a shift of, okay, I'm probably not going to be flying the airplane, 2, 3, 4 times a week anymore. I'm going to be, in various leadership positions and certainly a lot of educational opportunities that I've been given. When you read off those degrees, I never thought I'd even have one master's degree, let alone 3. So I don't know. I think I accidentally got all 3, but I really got this bug about leadership into me because of the leaders that were in front of me. And, when you're surrounded by such incredible leaders of all various shapes and sizes, you pick up something from them all. And yeah, there's going to be some challenging leaders in there too, and some that you maybe just don't like. But what I like to say is I've had some great leaders in my career, and I've had others that I've learned a whole lot from, and instead of saying bad leaders, because I've made plenty of mistakes. I've done things, I wish I would have gone left instead of right, made decisions that didn't work out. But you don't learn by not stepping into the arena. You have to get in the arena and get dirty and make some moves and take action. And that's what people in the military expect of their leadership, that regardless of what's happening around them, no matter how chaotic or how volatile it is, they're expecting you to lead. And so you take all that experience that you have to that point and try to bring it in, to focus and bring your team along with you. The influence part, there is no way I'm going to influence anybody on my team until I get to trust, right? That has to be there. And you don't earn trust until you get to know people. You can't just say, hey, Mike, trust me. No, we develop a relationship first. We start developing rapport with one another. We start, sharing experiences together. And that's where the trust comes from. And I think the military teaches you how to do this very, very well, especially since sometimes the team is not going to be just the people It might be a team of Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Guardians, Airmen, all mixed in one breadbasket, and we're going off to war somewhere. So you got to learn quickly, how do you form relationships very, very quickly so that you can get to a point of trust and be able to execute the mission. Yeah, certainly, you could say rank does help. Yes, having eagles on your shoulders and working for a colonel or a general or things like that. I know they're in charge, but do you really, really trust them? You don't really know. So there is an aspect of leadership that I've found that, boy, I'm just going to get below the surface of the water with people and get to know them, what makes them tick, how they learn, what are their passions, what do they love doing, what are their pain points. And that's actually no different than what I do in my day-to-day life now as a leadership coach and speaker and trainer. So I think those skills just felt natural to transform into this kind of new life that I have. So it's really been a lot of fun, to tell you the truth. So
Yeah, dude, you're a lot of fun. And it's funny when you said that, yeah, you have the rank, and I wasn't in the military. I was in the fire department. And I remember this guy coming in out of college, and he showed up, and oh yeah, that guy used to be here. He has a degree. Not a firefighting degree. He just has a degree. So they made him a lieutenant. And it bothered me for a minute, but I was like, well, okay. We go into in this garage fire with 4 cars, the whole thing's lit. The hose dies. And guess what this lieutenant does? Heads for the hills. Yeah, so you're right. Absolutely. Only rank can take you so far because
yeah,
because in that line of duty, you want people to like you enough and want to help you out, and not run away. So, that says a lot about you, your style. You didn't abuse the authority. You led by example. You cared about people, and dadgummit, it shows. And that explains why you're so good at transition, because you're
I
just a good
appreciate
guy
that.
and you got a lot of value. Yeah. So, real quick, is there somebody who, fictional or non-fictional, that shaped your leadership style early in your life, like who you aspired to be, that kind of helped you become the colonel and the coach and consultant that you are?
Yeah, early on when I first started flying airplanes out in Spokane, Washington, it was the base commander there. I had an opportunity to work as his kind of executive officer. So I worked in the front office and supported the leadership up there. So I got to spend a lot of time around him. I mean, every meeting he went to, I went to. There was only a couple times that I probably wasn't by his side. And, you know, he was such a good developer of people. And he did have kind of this people first mentality. It's so different than what you see in Hollywood, right? And this gentleman's a retired 2-star, and just finished up as the commandant at Virginia Tech. So we're talking incredibly successful leader. And the biggest thing that he taught me early on is that leadership is a never-ending journey as far as education and curiosity. Because the day that you say to yourself, you got it all figured out, boy, you better get your head back into a book, or you better go listen to a podcast or go talk to somebody, because there's going to be something or some situation that comes up that you are not prepared for. And, he showed me by modeling the behaviors. Like, he was an avid reader. He was watching documentaries and sharing them with us. He was sharing books with us. But he kind of nudged me towards my master's degree in organizational leadership, and really taught me the kind of the philosophy behind the leadership style of a servant leader. And that's kind of the first time I really heard that term. And I'd heard it once or twice, but I didn't really understand everything that was involved in all of these various leadership styles. But that's the one that somewhat resonated with me. And so I was off to Gonzaga University, shortly after that conversation. And, a couple years later, master's degree in hand. And I still look back as like, that was a pretty formative time in my life, in my early part of my life, that really opened the door up to, I really do believe I could be a very effective leader, but it's still going to take a lot of work. And, oh, by the way, you don't do this by yourself. You are surrounded by an amazing team. They're as amazing as much as you invest in them. They will leave you behind, though, if you don't care and feed for them properly, right? So,
Yes, I say.
you got to be careful who you are. And if you try to fake who you are, you will get found out. So
Yes, sir.
you better bring your genuine self. And that means if you have some flaws in your leadership, that's okay. But at least if you're showing people that you're working on them, they're rooting for you because they want you to get better too. I think that's just the natural way that people are. People don't show up to work saying, I hope Johnny gets hurt today. No, they actually want Johnny to do better today so that none of us gets hurt, So, we may say some other things, at the water cooler at lunchtime, but I think deep down, people want other people to succeed and vice versa. That's, I think, where
Right.
the core of being a people first leader is all about.
I know Izzy's got questions, but I don't know, military, fire department, probably same thing. We had this guy, we rode him all the time. But when the other fire department rode him, boy, we about whooped them all. Like,
Yeah.
hey, that's our goofball.
Yeah, you
Yeah, we
protect
take
them.
care.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Izzy. I know you got something
Oh,
to say
okay,
about
it's my turn now.
Yes, ma'am. You're supposed to be crocheting a giant sweater
It's
anyway. Where's that?
no, I'm not crocheting anything right now. I'm live with you.
Okay.
I love that you said that because Scott, because the best way to gain trust is to show trust.
Yeah.
So if you show you're vulnerable, if you show where your weaknesses are, if you show that you make mistake, you own up to them and you say, hey, listen, this is what it is for now. I'm going to try to do better next time. Whether you're a colonel or CEO, it doesn't really matter. As long as you show up, authentically and genuinely, then that works. But my question was, I've shared that about my transition from the military to civilian life, where the first job I had in corporate America, I went, where do these people learn how to lead? And only to realize with time that in the civilian world, leaders don't get leadership training. And that's a big, 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 big mistake, because leadership is a skill like altogether. And it is a skill that you're never done learning, that you're never done mastering, and that when you do think that you're done, you're in deep trouble. So when you transition to your civilian life, and now that you work with CEOs, do you get the same, did you notice the same thing as I did?
Yeah, I do. I do notice the difference between what we get in the military as far as leadership and development training. And it doesn't matter whether you're a civilian government employee, an enlisted member, or an officer. They do train and educate, and there's tons of opportunities. I can remember working with a major pharmaceutical company last year, and we were doing like 3-day leadership courses for frontline leaders. So I would say that on average, a class of 30 might have their number of years that they've worked there could be anywhere between 5 and 20 years. So you do have a lot, but that's what was shocking, is what I was teaching and facilitating was what a young officer or enlisted member or young civilian employee would have had in the first 3 or 4 years of their career, and in a sense, I felt a little bit bad about that. Like, why are we not equipping people? Just like, think of an athlete, all the things we do for professional athletes, like the trainers, the mental health, the physical health, the emotional health, spiritual health. if they like meditation, we get them into meditation. If they like, cold baths, we get them all the equipment. Why are we not doing this for the very people that you hoped that can help you raise your business up to the highest heights, to make as much money as you hope you want to get, to do the good that you hope your organization would do? And I think we got it wrong. And what the athletes are getting, it's not wrong that we treat them that way. It's just, I believe, as a business or an organization, we should be treating our people that way. And I will say, though, that there are some organizations that do a very good job, but the employees don't take advantage. And I used to tell airmen, whatever the Air Force sends your way, steal it, take it. It's free. This is something you're entitled to. Yes. We owe it to you to be at the very best, not only in your personal life, but also in your professional life. And I think where companies, it's very hard for the companies to see the innate value. Like, there's no, well, if I do this today and they go to this 3-day course, our company's going to make $1 million more next week. Like, I think that's one of the reasons why there's such a, disconnect, is the end state is hard to see of that. There's some of you may have heard this, but there's a philosophy of, what happens if we invest all this money in these people and then they leave? Well, the question that I also like to bring up is, well, what happens if you don't invest in them and they stay? How much are they going to contribute to your bottom line then? So it may cost you a lot. It may cost money, time, resources, but that's preemptive thinking. And now we're not reactive thinking, going, oh my gosh, we got to get leadership training tomorrow because we need a new director of marketing.
And it's going to cost more not to do it.
It's going to cost way more.
And the difference between corporate America from 30 years ago to corporate America now is, now good employees have choices and they didn't used to. So now a good employee will literally either silently quit or disengage from their job and actually physically stay, which is not better than them leaving completely, or actually going to a better company culture.
Yeah.
Because at equal job, you're going to improve either for a hell of a lot more money or for a better company culture. And most of the time, the really good employees will leave for a better company culture way before they leave for money.
Yeah, when I lived in Rochester, Minnesota in the 90s, IBM, they had a big facility in Rochester and the Mayo Clinic, and your mom or dad worked at one or the other or both. And when you think of those big organizations, I'll just take IBM, the hierarchy worked very well, for a lot of companies for a lot of years. And in some sense, there's still this hierarchy in a lot of different companies, right? But it's the flattening of the day-to-day operations within these companies that has brought about this thing that you brought up, which is choice. People now have a voice.
Yes.
And they do want some change. They don't necessarily want to be the man or woman in charge, but they just want to understand that they are bringing value, that they actually are needed in this organization. And to a degree, they would like some investment to be able to continue to climb the ladder themselves. Mm-hmm. Some of the things that are also kind of in the recipe here is, there are times when you have really great people that get these promotions and they do now have this sense of imposter syndrome, like, I shouldn't be the chief operating officer, or, I'm only in here because I worked here the longest, or whatever. Mm-hmm. Well, that's just a sign that we need to continue investing as far as development. It's not a sign of we got to work against them now. No. We should be propping them up and giving them all the tools necessary. They should have private coaching. They should have access to maybe it's a certain amount of money they can use each year to go take a course or take a class, whatever it may be, or join a network, whether it's a paid network or it's a free network. But I think every employee should have some choice on this menu of development. And I'm telling you, I think you would see a radical change in the way companies operate. I mean, the latest, I don't have it in front of me. I was just talking about this with a CEO today. The Gallup Global Workplace report just came out like a couple weeks ago, and it's showing, we still have between 60 and 70% of disengaged or actively disengaged employees.
Which is insane.
Yeah. Mike, that's fire. I need your teammates. That's a fire. We got to put that out.
Yes.
So, but I think, there's a lot that we also need to be thinking about too, is this is my opinion. We can't just keep thinking that work is just the place we just do work, because our personal life, we're bringing it all with us every day. And I think there are some times where employees need to feel like they can either talk about some of that stuff, air some of that stuff, whether we call those, safe spaces to talk. Maybe it's a boss that expresses a little bit more empathy towards maybe what might be going on. Whatever it looks like, I think, need to enable that a little bit more, because these jobs that so many men and women have these days, it's their personal life and their professional life,
And they bring the office home, because now they literally work from home.
Absolutely.
So it's no longer separated, like way back when, even like in the 1980s and the 1990s, people separated. Well, this was my childhood, and this is when I was a teenager, and this is how I am as an adult. Well, guess what? You're the same person. It's just a build on, and it's the same thing between our personal life and our professional life. I'm not saying you need necessarily to date the payroll, but it's the same life. It's your life.
Yeah.
So if there's a disconnect between the two, yes, you are bringing this home. You're bringing this home on how you show up for your spouse, how you show up for your kids, how you treat the cashier at the grocery store, how you treat your pharmacist, it's just life. And if we're completely disconnected from our humanity, well, then it just doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah. I see Tom's comment here. Yeah. You just can't care for just 8 hours. Like, you gotta care. You gotta care day and night. Yeah.
Tom, connect with me, please.
Yes. It's such a great point. But, I mean, a personal side here, like, I found out that my son was autistic at work, not at home. Right. So how do you think I was operating the rest of the day after that news?
Yeah.
Right? Like, that stuff happens.
Yeah. Yeah, and the being a leader, and Mike, I'm gonna shut up after this because it is your show, but being the leader is getting to being in a position where people are going to follow you, even if they have a choice not to. That's what leadership is.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're being a jack and you're just being a dictator, well, maybe they're just obeying to the position or the rank and not to your actual leadership.
Yeah.
Mike, I'm going to shut up now for a minute.
No, why? Now the rating's going to drop. See, y'all was doing good. Oh, gee whiz. First of all, did y'all see that old man face I made when my kids busted in and started making monkey noises? Did y'all hear that?
Just a little bit.
If you did, Did you see me push the mute button and go, get out of here? Yeah. Man, that's why I feel like Gargamel. Number two, what you said earlier, Scott, absolutely dead on. It's an investment. Look, you're going to pay for it now or later. And if you wait till later and you don't invest in people and prevention and all these things, then it's just going to be worse later. That absolutely. So it's not this whole, we're just, singing Kumbaya and being a bunch of, whatever you want to call it, right? Pollyannas or soft people. That's not what it's about. Even if you don't have a heart and empathy, you could get behind the rationale of it. It's cost effective, right? It's effective
Yeah.
all across the board. So I love what you said there. Now, on that note, because you just talked about some of your principles, right? Lessons and things you learned from military that make you so daggum good when you coach executives, departments, and corporate, right? So, what are some more? I mean, there's got to be tons of them. So, from your time in the military, what are some more principles that you use that are really valuable in your coaching that people that your clients and your corporate clients say, man, that was really good.
You know, emotional intelligence is probably the most popular offering or the subject that I end up engaged with others on. And the reason this is such a popular, because this has been around for a long time. I mean, Daniel Goleman's been writing about it and researching it for decades. The reason it's so important and funny, so popular, it's not like you're just working on one singular skill. The beautiful thing about emotional intelligence is one, okay, everybody's got it, because if you have emotions, you have emotional intelligence. Okay. But what we're trying to find out when we maybe do a survey or an assessment is where within the spectrum of EQ, where within the various components do we have superpowers and maybe other areas we could grow? Maybe I'm really good at self-awareness. Like I can really sense when something's gotten under my skin or has my attention, but I still lash out. So my self-management is not the best. That those two components deal with you, the person. Social awareness, somebody good at social awareness is really good at reading a room, reading body language, understanding when two people are having a conversation, what's going on behind the conversation or what's not being said. And then ultimately using all of those components to get to the fourth one, which is relationship management. It starts with a foundation of self-awareness, but the goal here is to try to have the best relationships that you can in your life, whether that's work or at home. I'm not saying you have to be friends with everybody. Matter of fact, I used to tell when I would do these all calls on base, and we'd get like 400 airmen in the auditorium. I'd do these like 4 or 5 times a day to try to get as many, and I could speak to as many as I could. I would tell them, you do not need to be friends with the people that you work with. Okay. This is not Facebook. You don't go around the organization tapping everybody in the nose going like. Okay. I am okay if you are not friends with everybody you work with, but you better respect them. Hands down, you better respect them. And that means you can disagree and still hug it out, right? You can walk away. Maybe you're a little bit upset, but at the end of the day, you can still get back together and say, hey, could you help me out with this? Because you're really good at this. And you help them out, right? Would I love everybody to get along and be friends? Of course, that would be great. But I think some tension in the system is always necessary to kind of push us a little bit. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Stress is a good thing. Otherwise, I think we're going to be bored without any pressure, right? So a little bit of pressure is good, a little stress in the environment. Sometimes I would do that to teams where I thought they were on cruise control, and I would just intentionally start a fire. I'd kind of get things going a little bit because I wanted to see what they're capable of. But I just think the EQ is that one skill that if you double down on your efforts to improve some of your components, or maybe it's your weakest one, you're going to find that not only is your emotional intelligence going to get better, but your communication, your stress tolerance, your resilience, your empathy. It's one of those skills where you get like 5 for 1. And so why wouldn't you want to invest in the biggest indicator of your overall performance? Like 60% of your overall performance can be attributed directly to emotional intelligence. It's not your good looks, Mike, and it's not your brains. All right. Yeah. It's not just those. So,
Not just.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, I got to ask this. I had a question, but look, man. So we're children of the '80s, right?
Oh,
Like
totally.
that's us.
No.
He-Man, machismo, right? All of this stuff, and it carries over. And so when you get into jobs like fire department and military, you deal with a tough bunch, right? So not everybody's going to respond well, and I don't want to hear all that EQ. I don't want to grow on that. And you just kind of touched on it. But how do you deal with that when someone in military and in corporate where they're just like, man, I don't want to hear none of that. I'm just here because I have to be, or just do my job and blah blah blah, and they have an attitude and they got that He-Man, complex going. So how do you deal with that today when
Yeah.
somebody resisted?
So one of the ways that I dealt with it was I was the one teaching the courses. So as the base commander or the base deputy commander. So if you're going to walk the walk as a leader, you better be modeling it as well. And I can guarantee you, I'm probably the only base commander in the Air Force that taught emotional intelligence courses.
In every single army in the world.
Well, I would say it. Yeah. I don't know of any, but
I've never heard that.
Yeah. And I didn't really think about it until one of these old crusty guys pointed it out who worked on maintenance on aircraft, the toughest guy in the room who was actually emotional at the end of the course. He was like, I wish I would have learned this 20 years ago. Right.
Yeah.
And I did have to sell a little bit because I knew who my audience was that day because I had a lot of maintainers. And I said, ladies and gentlemen, this is not about trying to change your personality, your IQ. I can't do that. That was set when you were very young. Like your IQ set around age 7, your personality set around age 20. I can't do anything about that. But what I know we can all do biologically is we can grow new connections in the brain and rewire ourselves. There's plenty of research and case studies that show it's possible. And so I sell them on that. Do you want better performance out of yourself? Well, yeah. Do you want better performance out of your team? Yeah. Do those sound like unicorns and rainbows that are going to happen in here? No, this isn't about unicorns and rainbows. Talking about your emotions is a tough guy thing, and I'd say that to the tough guys in the room, right? It's a tough girl thing, but so I have to say it a little bit more to the tougher guys who are acting that way. But I think when you speak the language that they can connect to, then you start having that kind of shared understanding. And they go, oh, he actually really is trying to build us up, or he must know something that I don't. Now they're curious, and people are curious. A lot of people are curious, so they'll see what you're selling.
And I
Just
think
like
that
you said earlier.
if you give them the chance, they're going to do it. Like even the tough guys and the infantry guys and all that, hoo-ah and all these. If you give them the chance, if you hold the space and you give them the opportunity to feel seen, value, heard, all of these good things, they're going to show up.
Well, and sometimes too, though, you got to be cognizant. We all learn differently. Like your learning style is different than mine, and Mike. We could all three of us have 3 different learning styles.
Yeah.
So you have to show them in a style that they can understand.
Yeah,
and
language.
You don't know that unless you get to know them on that level. And I think that's where sometimes we miss the target in some of these development courses or offerings is they don't, it's just somebody up there clicking slides the whole time, talking in a monotone Ferris Bueller kind of way, right? To use an 80s.
Bueller.
Yeah. But, if you can mix it up with show them what good emotional intelligence looks like or bad, or show them what good communication skills look like and what, some that need improvement, show them what resilience looks like, show them what vulnerability looks like. Some people need to see it. Yeah. Some people need a movie clip. Some people need to read a book. Some people need to watch a podcast. So I think you have to be really good at being able to, as a leader, understand your team at that level. Who are the introverts? Who are the extroverts? Who are the ambiverts? when is my team at their best? Is it in the mid morning or is it late afternoon? Everybody's got different energy peaks and valleys. So I think that kind of level of data within an organization, you're at the level now of what a high performing sports team does. They analyze all that stuff to get the most out of every individual player to get this team to win, right? That's what we should be
Dude.
doing.
You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
What I have a question actually. One of the things that I was extremely surprised when I showed up in my first civilian job was, well, first of all, the level of gossip, which existed in the military. I'm not pretending that it didn't. However, the I don't like that person, and oh, where did I go? Oh, I don't like that person, and therefore I don't want to work with her or him or whatever. We didn't get that in the military. Anyway, not in my experience. We didn't get that in the military. And I was extremely surprised by that because for me, liking someone and working with that person are two different things. Am I going to naturally work better with somebody I like? More than likely, yes. But since the nature of the job is to actually trust your team with your life, even if you don't like them, you still have to trust them. So that was what was shocking for me. So when you showed up to your civil, I know you didn't have like a job inside a corporation because you do your thing, but since you do work with corporate America, what was the first thing that clashed in like the discrepancy between, oh, this is what I'm used to, and now I'm seeing something completely opposite? What was that for you?
You know, I'm a visual learner, so I think the things that I notice when I walk in the front door of a civilian organization, a business, or a nonprofit, it's not so much in the nonprofit. They're actually pretty good at this, but I look at what's on the wall. And if they're not showcasing their teams, they're just, they have the teamwork picture with everybody rowing the boat from 20 years ago. And it's hung on the wall crooked. And, then you go in the bathroom and there's stuff taped up, and then you go down the hallway and there's food. I actually look at how much pride, first of all, does the organization take in its office spaces, because that's a subtle indicator for how much people actually care here. Because if people really did care, everybody picks up trash without even being told to, it's like Disneyland, right? You can't find a cigarette butt. I know you're not supposed to smoke there, but people do. But as soon as
somebody's going to pick it up.
Yeah. As soon as a piece of trash hits the ground at Disneyland, the entire organization, the cast, they all know to pitch in, whether you're the CEO of Disney or you're a cast member.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And I think that's the difference in the military environment. I walked around the base all the time picking up trash. And
as the base commander.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I saw young airmen doing it too. I didn't ask them to do that. It's a level of caring for the organization that is somewhat of an indicator of maybe how the culture or how much they value actually being there and working there. I heard this years ago, but everybody used to rave about what when the Dallas Cowboys had all these Super Bowl wins in the 70s, and you walk in the front office of the Dallas Cowboys organization, you just smell like a champion when you walk in the door. Right now, it's my New England Patriots. Right, you smell like a champion when you walk into Gillette, and it may not be the same way. I'm not going to pick a team because I'm going to have a hater out here that's going to come after me. But there's
go with hockey. Nobody cares about hockey.
Yeah, I bet if you walked into the Boston Celtics front office right now, it looks amazing. All right, having just won their record-breaking another championship in the NBA, but there are teams out there that don't feel the same. But what that also shows is their employees aren't necessarily bought into everything either. If they're not even willing to pick up the trash, there's something going on there. And that's when I actually love to have conversations with people. I don't want them to fail. I actually want them to be proud of where they go to work. I don't want to just sell you something and then leave. I actually want you to feel good about where you work and what you do. And that's the challenge I think that leaders face each and every day. How do I keep them going towards that vision that I've said that we're going to go to? And then how do I celebrate when we get those small wins and not just at the big one at the end? How do I show them that they matter? That I care about them, that I love that they work here. Do you use the word love? I think that's an okay word to use. So go talk to the people on the assembly line. They're going to be honest with you about how the organization's running, because that's another indicator too. When you talk to the front office secretary, talk to the somebody that works in the mailroom, don't talk to the top, because everything gets filtered up to them.
And learn their names.
Yeah.
Go to the mailroom and learn their names.
Yep.
And ask them their kids' names and their spouses' names and how long they've been married, and actually give about the answer.
Look at all the little tchotchkes they put on their desks, and maybe somebody's got a troll collection. Another 80s reference, right? Little trolls. But maybe you as their leader could maybe find a small little troll to add to their collection, but you don't need to say anything about it. Just leave it on their desk and say thank you. There's so many easy ways that I think leaders and employees can connect with one another. And sometimes we're just not thinking about the simple things. Mike, you talk about this all the time with the hounds. It's the simple things that sometimes matter the most, the small things. But if you're always trying to, hit a grand slam every time, you're going to get exhausted. So we got to find ways to celebrate those small wins. Like just getting on base is a big deal, so.
Oh, and I was going to say, if your assembly line workers won't tell you the truth, go read the shit they wrote on the bathroom stall. That'll tell you the truth what they think of you, right?
So you can get a lot of good intel in the bathroom. But so
yeah, go to any Burger King south of Ohio River, and you'll know exactly how the employees feel about their boss. So
absolutely.
I had to get some paint over my number. We're not going to go there. All right, so I don't know where. So this is what I love about it, man. We're going to wrap it up. I hate this because I could go on and on. People love it. You're the real deal, man. So here's what tell me what you think in the comments. You are the king of resilience. You have been after one thing after another thing. And every time I talked to you not too long ago, and you couldn't even talk, but you were still all smiley and, it's just amazing to me.
Nice little surgery here. Yeah.
Yeah. It was just, but you never, you're human. I know you go through it, but you're so resilient. You're so positive, and you can't fake that. You've earned that. And you built that. It takes time, and I know the dedication. And number two, the old saying, don't mistake my kindness for weakness. I don't know who else could put that on a t-shirt other than you, because be honest, Scott, I'm not going to call you on blast, but you split a head or two, right? Like you gave people, you went a little matter of fact with some folks back in the day, right? Like they kind of took your kindness for weakness, and you had to set them straight, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, I've used all the leadership styles, and authoritative does come out when it's necessary. Yes. Yeah.
But you don't lead with it.
No. But even let's take an example of, let's say I have to discipline somebody and, give them some paperwork. So they come into the office and salute and, and I'm reading, a reprimand or something like that. I'm still, I'm obviously not goofing around in that moment. I'm very stoic. I want to see through their body language. Do they understand that this behavior is not warranted and we're not going to repeat this, right? And I want to see that it resonates. But I will tell you, I don't know if every leader does this or not, because I'm not in the room when other leaders are doing this, but I would discipline. And so they would generally be standing at attention. If we're talking serious things here, like somebody gets a DUI or something like that, and they got to go meet the colonel now. they would be standing at attention. I'm not yelling and screaming at them. I'm just being very direct, and I'm reading, everything that went wrong here. And, then at the end, they sign that they acknowledge that they just heard what I said. But then I sit them down and I say, okay, hard part's over here. As far as meeting me, the hard part's now on you. So what can we do for you to ensure that, one, this doesn't happen again, but two, you excel? Because it's going to take you a while to kind of build back up. I don't know how long, everybody's different, but you need to know we're behind you. Okay. This was major mistake. Like this, I will not tolerate. But if the infraction is of a nature where we can retain them, I'm going to do my damnedest to retain them, because I can't afford to lose them. There are just some things, though, we talk about drugs and sexual assault and things like that. They got to go. You're gone. There's zero tolerance for that. And they're taught day one. It's everywhere in every organization in the military. We don't do drugs. We don't tolerate sexual assault or harassment. All right. If that happens, my hands are tied. You're gone. I have to boot you out of the military. So in most cases, it's just, that's something that we're not going to cross a line on. And unfortunately, it does happen. I mean, it happens in every organization, but it hurts when it happens in the military a lot, because I think there's such trust in the military, just like there's trust in teachers, and it's hard when you see an organization, an institution that America trusts so much, when they fail, it hurts big time, right? Because every one of us represents that organization. So you have to talk with people about why that's important. And I don't think you can always do that in a hunky-dory sort of way. Like, it needs to be semi-preachy at times, but it can still be said in a kind way, directly, but in a kind way, without disrespecting them, right? So that's where I learned that from Claude Silver out at VaynerMedia. She and I have spent some time together. She really taught me some things about running a people first organization, even in the military. And everything that she's poured into me, pure gold, absolutely pure gold. And it works. If it works in the military, it can work anywhere. I'm pretty sure of that. So,
man, that right there, we should end on that, but we're not, because we need to make sure the folks know what you have going on, how they can plug in, what you got, books, and whatever you got. Tell us all what you got. There's a graphic up here. Tell the people where they can find you and what you can do.
So yeah, the military effect. Scott Manthorn is kind of the project lead. He's the main author of this. But what's really cool about this book is there's 50 different stories of veterans in here, and they talk about how did they get into the military. They talk about their transitions. They talk about lessons learned. And I'm one of the 50, and I feel blessed to have even been part of this project. But I have 49 new friends that, is absolutely amazing to be surrounded by. And the whole point of this book, at first, we're like, we're going to get this into every veteran's hands. That's the goal. But I would say more importantly, I want to get this into every CEO's hands, because there is so much for them or their leadership to learn about the veterans that they have within their organizations. I bet you there's some similar stories to some of their employees. So that's out on Audible, just came out, and it's also out on Amazon. I've got a book coming out this year called Command with Courage, Elevating Beyond Adversity. And I will share, certainly my story about the brain tumor and kind of going through that. But it's not necessarily about the adversity. It's about, what did I learn through that? And if I was to help others and get out of a place where they might feel stuck, well, this is the book I want to get into your hands, because I think there's some important steps here. And I call it adjusting AIM, and AIM is an acronym. Some things that you need to think through to get yourself beyond adversity. And I've tried to take a lot of learning that I've had in my own life, and as well as a lot of learning from other people dealing with adversity, and just kind of bottle it all up into one book. So I've got that coming out later in the year, probably right around my birthday in November. I'm excited about that. I'm working with Flying Wings Publishing, and I know you've had them, Kofi and team there. So couldn't have picked a better publisher to work with. And then, in my day job, I call myself an organizational leadership Jedi. That's, and I got to thank Tanya, all right, and Brandface and her team.
I love that.
They're like, why fight the Star Wars nerd that you are? Just be it, So, yeah, I mean, I've got lightsabers over here, so.
We know.
Oh, yeah.
We saw the stormtrooper. We saw that.
Yeah.
And then we saw other people wearing their stormtrooper stuff, and then I got the hell out of the post. That's
absolutely. Yep. But the name of my company itself is Elevating Others. And so you can go out to my website, elevatingOthersLLC.com. You can find my offerings there, and absolutely hit me up on LinkedIn. I would love to hear, where could someone like me provide some help to you? Because my purpose is simple. I'm here to elevate others. And I'm like, why name my company anything else other than that? Like, that's what I think we're put on this planet to do. So if I can do that for you, let me know.
All right. Hey, real quick, I'm going to ask, this is a serious question. All right. I save it for last. So whoever left, I'm going to cut it out. We're not even going to let them watch the replay. All right. Before I do that, I've just got to say it, man. I love having you as a friend in the pack. Seriously, you get it. You're profitable reciprocity. You share your crayons. You lead from the front. You do things first. It's no mystery why you're successful, and I think that's the key. So you're really a benchmark for empathetic leaders. I really think so, because that doesn't mean you're a weakling. All right, it actually means you're stronger, because you can use different tools. You stay who you are, no matter what's going on around you. You operate from values and not outcomes, Scott. And seriously, I learn from you all the time. So thank you for that. I know we all appreciate you. The pack thinks the world of you. And there's a scene, because when you lead, it's hard. And you can chime in or you don't have to, but there's a scene. I don't know if y'all saw the Sean Connery. Now we're in the 90s. We're getting up there. Remember the first night, right?
Mm-hmm.
Had Richard Gere in it. Yep. So there's a scene where he's got them both up on the chopping block and he's doing this. And Sean Connery captures it so well, because he's the man. He doesn't want to do that. Those his two favorite people, but he's got a kingdom to run, man. If he don't enforce the law, it's going to go south, right? And I can imagine your life is that dichotomy where you're like, dude, like that DUI or something, it's like, hey, I feel for you, but you got a job to do. And I think no one I can think that does that better than you, Scott, honestly. So I think that's the message in my interpretation is, and I say it all the time, being a tough guy. What's more tough? Kicking a stray cat on the way home and being rude to your family, or seeking help and improving yourself and doing what it takes to be a better guy and leader? That's to me, I love to see this shift. So serious question. Here it comes. Last one.
Okay.
Who is your favorite Star Wars character and why? Who's your favorite Star Wars character and why?
I'm a Skywalker fan. It's the hero's journey, and it's not that it's, unusual. Like, every character in there has kind of a different tone to the movies that Lucas came up with here. But I love the story, because at the beginning of his journey, he's a little bit of a whiny little kid, and but at some point, though, he's got the right mentors in his life. And that's kind of happened for me too. They didn't tell me exactly what to do, but they just kind of modeled the right way to carry yourself, the right kind of character to have. Boy, yeah, that did it for me. It's Luke.
Hey,
gotta be Luke,
But we knew it wasn't Darth, dude.
I'm probably short like Yoda, but
Are you shorter? Because I thought you like 6'10", the way you come off.
So usually in the mornings I'm a tall 5'6", but by late afternoon, maybe 5'4", 5.5, maybe. You know, at least that's what my wife
Okay.
says. Yeah.
Well, don't throw him in the dryer and you're okay, right? Like, so
I
there you
like
go.
the on the tall 5'6".
Real tall,
Gee.
5'6". Yeah.
Hey, we gotta know what Tom. Tom, who's yours? Who is it? Luke for you, or are you just excited for Scott?
He
And
said
oh, by the
Luke.
way, Isabel,
Yes.
who is your favorite character? Like,
Yoda.
is it because he's cute, or like what's going on?
Yeah. Well, first of all, because I love the way he talks. And second of all, because he's a philosopher and I love philosophy.
Yeah, you do have a thing for jacked up
I
accents.
I would prefer if he were taller, just because I'm an Amazon woman. But yeah, I like Yoda.
That explains it all.
And I like
Look,
Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
that's what I was going to say, Jabba, because
Yeah,
he's just
I like
so
Jabba the Hutt.
stupid.
Yes.
It's just the stupid. Every time I watch it, I'm like, wow. Just,
Yeah.
man.
I thought
just
you're Jabba the Hutt.
I thought you were going to ask me like, what's my, if I could describe myself as a Star Wars spaceship, what would it be? I thought it was going to be,
Okay, if you could describe yourself, that was my second question, as a Star Wars spaceship.
Hold on.
Oh, we've got props.
Oh look, here come the toys. This is
my
awesome.
God, we've got props.
So this is the shadow box that I had for my retirement.
My God, of your medals?
Yes, in the
Hold up.
shape of the Millennium Falcon here. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh
You're-
my God.
Do you have a Star Wars tattoo? Because it's at the level of Elvis freaks. Like,
Yeah.
you have a tattoo.
No tattoos. I'm clean. No tattoos. So I'm not against them.
That.
I just have. Well, I say one time I was in Turkey deployed, and we were just off base, kind of down this alley where they have a lot of shops and stuff. That was as close as I ever got to getting a tattoo. Was a night out in Adana, Turkey. So, but yeah, I didn't go through with it. So,
hey, by the way, I don't even know this, but Mike, do you have any tats?
No.
No.
I changed my mind too much. You can't erase it. It
I
costs like
don't
20
think
grand.
I can be your friend. I can be friends with Scott because it's Scott. But you don't have any tats. I don't think I can be your friend anymore.
I wanted to put a wolf head on my shoulder. Here's the problem. When I don't work out and eat like 8,000 calories, it'll look like a poodle. And I was afraid that my wolf would turn into like a little puppy, and then I get beat up more often. I don't wear long sleeves.
Oh man, I think we're going. This show is going down now.
Yeah. It would be though. It would be probably a Star Wars tattoo on my shoulder. Yeah, it definitely would be.
Scott, dude, you're amazing. Isabel, this was fun. I'm glad I didn't get to talk much. Yeah, she's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, no, when I'm not talking, that means it's a good show. I mean, you know that. But I remember a long time ago.
Week. I'm not the co-host next week. You're gonna miss me.
I am, and God help whoever is if I have one.
Well, if she says yes, it's gonna be Melissa. But she hasn't accepted yet, so I'm putting pressure now.
She will.
Oh, yeah.
I'll just bother her until she says yeah. That's how I do it. Just browbeat people. Great strategy. Scot Heathman taught me that. No, okay. All right. So I remember seeing this lady at this peddler's mall or something, this flea market, and she had Elvis everywhere, and she had like a billion Elvis tattoos. And so I just walked. I was young, man, like 20, and I was like, "Oh, you're an Elvis freak." And she said, "No, I just like Elvis." And I said, "Okay, I like Pez, but you don't see me get a tattoo of Pez on my damn shoulder."
Hey, maybe she likes Elvis and she likes tattoos.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying. He's like, "Hey, I am a Star Wars freak. Own it." All right, that's authenticity. Right? So thank you so much, Scott. Everybody go check out his profile. Connect with him. Amazing guy. Isabel, enjoy your 98-degree weather. I'm so proud of you. It was snowing in Wyoming, so it's up there north. I consider everything up there is just north. It's all the same to me because I'm a hillbilly.
98 degrees. Jesus Louises. I'm jumping. As soon as we're off this thing, I'm jumping butt naked in my pool.
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna cut the camera before that happens. All right.
Yeah, don't
So,
worry. I ain't showing that.
and by the way, if anybody wants to know why I go extended hours here, it's because this is short video content. Like we have a good show, and this is the stuff I want to post about, man. This is this kind of stuff is what people want to see.
Okay,
I'm
say
serious.
goodbye, Mike.
All right. So if you wanted to learn more about the pack, be surrounded by heart-centered people, high-level pros like this, dadgummit, DM me, scan a QR code, send a carrier pigeon. Courage before confidence. Hey, right there, command with courage. Love you guys. We'll see you on the next one. Cannot wait. And everybody tell Melissa Robinson Miller that she has to be on the show or Mike will cry.
Yes.
And I'll
I
send her a
already
sock.
told her that.
Hey,
I'll send her one sock.
Thank you both.
Bye.
Thank you, brother. Let's roll the outro. Thank y'all for stopping by. Be sure to follow, share, and like, and send me a message if you had fun today. Y'all come back now.